So let's take a look at number 4. If one of our zeros is 4 minus 3i, what's another one? 4 plus 3i. So this in factored form would be x minus 4 minus 3i and x minus 4 plus 3i. So we want to distribute that negative, so we have x minus 4 plus 3i and x minus 4 minus 3i. So here we still have conjugates where our first term is this x minus 4 and the second term is 3i. So we want to multiply our first term, so that's x minus 4 times x minus 4, so that would be x minus 4 squared. And then our last terms would be 3i times 3i, so minus 9i squared. So that's the shortcut. It's foiling, but we're skipping the outer and the inner because we know that those are just going to cancel out. So now I have to FOIL this x minus 4 squared, so we have x squared minus 8x plus 16. And then what does our I squared turn into? -1, so that becomes a plus 9. Combine our like terms here, so I have x squared minus 8x plus 25. So this is one of our factors of our polynomial up here. So to find what the rest of our factors are, we have to do long division. So x squared minus 8x plus 25 goes on the outside. And then we have 5x to the 4th power minus 22x cubed minus 27x squared plus 514x minus 200. So now we divide. What times x squared gives us 5x to the 4th power? 5x squared. So make sure that you keep your terms in line. So notice I'm writing that 5x squared on top of the minus 27x squared. It'll help you stay organized. And then multiply what's on top with everything out front. So we have 5x to the 4th power minus 40x cubed plus 125x squared. Change the signs. Combine your like terms. So the first ones cancel. Next, this becomes 18x cubed and minus 152x squared. Now what times x squared gives us 18x cubed? 18x, so plus 18x comes next. So we multiply what's up top with what's out front. We get 18x cubed. What's 18 times 8? 144x squared. And then 18 times 25? 514x. Change the signs. That becomes minus, plus minus. Is it 514? No. So that was 450.
I was thinking about writing down 550.
So we change the signs. These cancel. Negative 152 plus 144 is what? Negative 8 x squared. And then 514 minus 450. 64. So that'd be positive 64 x. So then what times x squared gives us negative 8x squared? Negative 8. So then multiply negative 8x squared plus 64x minus 200. Change the sign, change the sign, change the sign. Bring this down, and everything cancels. At this step, everything will always cancel. So at the end, you will not get a remainder. If you got a remainder, you probably did something wrong along the way. Next, we have to factor. We have 5x squared plus 18x minus 8. How do I factor this? So 5 times negative 8 is negative 40. What are two factors of negative 40 that add to 18? 20 and negative 2. So I have x plus 20, x minus 2. What do I have to do next? Since I started by multiplying that 5, I have to make sure I go back in and divide both of these by 5. So I have x plus 4 and 5x minus 2. So then x is equal to what? Negative 4 and 2 over 5. And also, x is equal to 4 minus 3i and 4 plus 3i. So these are all of my zeros. Started with x to the 4th power, so I know I'm going to have 4 zeros in my answer. Alright, so if negative 3 plus I is one of my zeros, what's another one? Negative 3 minus I. So here I would have x minus negative 3 plus I and x minus negative 3 minus I. Yes. So this would be x plus 3 minus I, x plus 3 plus I. So my first term is this x plus 3. So x plus 3 times x plus 3 is x plus 3 squared minus I squared. I have to FOIL this x plus 3 squared, so that would be x squared plus 6x plus 9. What does the I squared turn into? Negative 1, so it becomes a plus 1. So 9 plus 1 would be x squared plus 6x plus 10. So that is one factor of this polynomial. So I have to divide to find the other. So I have x squared plus 6x plus 10. And that's going to go into x to the 4th power plus 8x to the 3rd power minus 13x squared minus 190 x minus 350. All right, so what times x squared gives us x to the 4th power? X squared. Multiply what's out top with what's out front, so we get x to the 4th power plus 6x cubed plus 10x squared. What do I have to do next? Change a sign, change a sign, change a sign. Combine. So I get 2x cubed minus 23x squared. So what times x gives us 2x cubed? 2x. So plus 2x. Multiply 2x cubes plus 12x plus 12x squared plus 20x. Change a sign, change a sign, change a sign. Combine. So this becomes negative 35x squared and minus 210x. What do I do next? So negative 35 goes on top. Multiply that with everything out front. So this would be negative 35x squared minus 35 times 6x would be 210x. And then minus 350. Change a sign, change a sign, change a sign. Everything cancels. So this is what I get. That's another factor. So then I just have to factor this. So I have x squared plus 2x minus 35. What are two factors of 35 that add to 2x? 7 and negative 5. So x plus 7, x minus 5. So x is equal to what? Negative 7, positive 5, negative 3 plus I, and negative 3 minus I. So for number 1, what's the conjugate of 2i?
Minus 2i.
Minus 2i. And number 2, what's the conjugate of negative 3i?
3i.
3i. Yes. What if you had, let's say, negative 3i minus 6? What's the conjugate of this?
Minus 6 plus 3i.
So it'd be negative 6 plus 3i. So that real part stays the same, even though here it's written backwards. So this would technically be negative 6 minus 3i. So the real part stays the same, and then you just flip the sign in the middle. So for number 1, what's my missing 0? Oh, number 2?
Oh, I said, oh, sorry. Negative 2.
So negative 2i. So then I have to put it in factored form. So I have x plus, what would be x minus 2i first, and then x plus 2i. Doesn't really matter the order, but what do I do next?
You multiply the first one and then the last one.
So I would get x squared minus 4i squared. What does the I squared turn into?
Negative 1.
Negative 1. So that would be a plus 4. So x squared plus 4. What do I have to do next?
You divide the x squared plus 4 by the.
Awesome. We divide. So I have x squared plus 4 on the outside. And then x to the 4th power plus x cubed plus 2x squared plus 4x minus 8 on the inside. So what times x squared gives me x to the 4th power?
X squared.
X squared. So then I multiply that with everything out front, so I get x to the 4th power plus 4x squared. Notice how I leave a space because I need that x squared to be in line with my x squared terms.
That's what I was confused about.
Yeah.
On the test, we know.
So then I need to change a sign and change a sign and add. So these cancel. This I'm just going to drop down, so I have x cubed minus 2x squared. Now what times x squared gives me x cubed? X, so plus x. So then I multiply that with everything out front, so I get x cubed, and then plus 4x. So notice how I leave a space again, because that has to go in line here. Change the sign, combine. So these cancel. I have negative 2x squared. What happens here?
Cancel.
They cancel.
So then you bring the 8 down? Or?
So I can bring the 8 down. If you wanted to put 0x, you could do that too, just as a placeholder. What times x squared gives me negative 2x squared? Negative 2. Then multiply that with everything out front, so I have negative 2x squared minus 8. Change a sign. What happens? It all cancels.
Okay, that's like why I was confused in that question. So like.
And now we just need to find our factors of x squared plus x minus 2. So what are 2 factors of negative 2 that add to 1? Positive 2 and negative 1. So x plus 2, x minus 1. So my zeros are going to be negative 2, positive 1. I started with 2i and negative 2i. All right, so number 6. What factors of 9 add to negative 10?
Minus 9 minus 10.
Negative 9, negative 1. Yeah. So how would I write that here? X squared minus 9 and x squared minus 1. So notice how that I split it up into x squared and x squared because I started with x to the 4th. So from here, I can set both of them equal to 0. So x squared minus 9 is equal to 0. X squared minus 1 is equal to 0. So x squared is equal to 9. Take the square root. So what's x equal to?
Plus minus 3.
Plus or minus 3. And then here, I have x squared is equal to 1. Take the square root. What's x equal to?
Plus minus 1.
Plus or minus 1. So these are my zeros. And then to write my answer in factored form, irreducible over the reals, how would that look?
Or x minus 1, x plus 1, x minus 3, x plus 3.
Awesome. X minus 1, x plus 1, x minus 3, x plus 3. The order doesn't matter for these. You can write it however you want. Just remember that irreducible over the reals doesn't have any i's in the factored form here. So if one of these, let's say had 3i, you would write it, go back to this step with the x squared in it. So you would just go backwards. So if I had, let's say, I'll leave that up there for you. There. For example, if I had x squared plus 9 as one of my factors, I'd set this equal to 0. So x squared is equal to negative 9. Take the square root. So what's x equal to? Plus or minus 3i. But when I write that in my factored form, if it's irreducible over the reals, I can't put I in here because it has to be real. So I would go back to this step here where I had x squared plus 9. So that would be how I leave it in the factored form. But this would be one of my zeros. Do you guys want to see another one from that section or move on to the next part? Lily?
Can you see another one from the section?
5 or 7?
Can you put a recording of this one too? Maybe 7.
7. All right, how do I factor 7? What should I do to start? I could group it. That works. So what comes out of my first group? X cubed. And I'm left with x plus 3. What's going to come out of my second group? Negative 2x. So then I'm left with x plus 3. Perfect. My parentheses here are the same. You can't group if these parentheses are different. So they have to be the same. So I put what's on the outside together. So x cubed minus 2x. And then what's on the insides together? X plus 3. Can I factor this anymore?
You can take out an x.
I can take out an x from my first group here. So that would be x times x squared minus 2 times x plus 3. All right, now I can just set each piece equal to 0. So x equal to 0, x squared minus 2 is equal to 0, and x plus 3 is equal to 0. So there's one answer. I have x squared is equal to 2. Take the square root, so what's x equal to? Plus or minus square root 2. And then the last one, x is equal to negative 3. So these are my zeros, but to leave my answer in factored form, irreducible over the reals, I would have x minus square root 2, x plus square root 2, and x plus 3. All right, so looking at 5, we have to write the polynomials as the product of linear and quadratic factors that are irreducible over the reals and identify all of our zeros. So how can I factor this? Grouping. So group the first two, group the second two. What do I have in common in my first group? X squared. And I'm left with 2x minus 3. What do I have in common in my second group? 7. So then I'm left with 2x minus 3. So since my inside parentheses are the same, I can group. Inside parentheses have to be the same. Those go together in one group. So I have 2x minus 3 times x squared plus 7. Now I need to find my zeros. So I set each piece equal to 0. So 2x minus 3 equals 0, x squared plus 7 equals 0. 2x equals 3, so x is equal to 3 halves. Subtract 7. X squared is equal to negative 7. What do I do next? Square root.
Negative 7. Plus or minus 7x.
I square root 7. So this would be 1 0, and this would be 2 and 3 zeros. And we have to put it in irreducible over the reals. So one of them would be x minus 3 halves. And then I can't put x minus I square root 7 because irreducible over the reals can't have i's in it. So what would go into my next parentheses? What's the one step before I solved? X squared plus 7. So this would be x squared plus 7. So irreducible over the reals can't have i's in it.
Is that going to be the same?
Yes. Looking at the answers for 6 and 7, here's 6. So I just left it here with all the numbers. So I had x is equal to 3, negative 3, positive 1, negative 1. So it's just x minus 1, x plus 1, x minus 3, x plus 3. For this one, same thing. I didn't have any i's in my answer, so I just had x, x minus square root 2, x plus square root 2, and x plus 3. Yes? Have to use my rational zero test. So factors of the last over factors of the first. So P over Q. What are factors of 24?
1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 8, 12, and 24.
Awesome. 12 and 24.
Why did it have to be 1 with so many factors?
Because on the test you might have one with so many factors.
Why?
It doesn't matter. You just choose like 1 or 2.
Well, mine says it's like the first one, but gonna be like x.
Yeah, it's going to be 1. All right, in the box is going to go 1, negative 2, negative 13, 14, and 24. Always double check to make sure you have all of your terms. If we have x to the 4th, we have x cubed, squared, 1, 0. So always make sure you have all of your x's represented there. If we skipped one, then you would have to just put a 0 in that place. What do you want to try first? Let's try 2. Hopefully you tried something that works. 1, multiply 2, we get 0, multiply 0, add negative 13, multiply negative 26, add 12, negative 12, multiply negative 24, 0. Yay. So x is equal to 2 is one of our answers. And then we can take this and do it again. So 1, 0, negative 13, and negative 12. Now we can use negative 12, since that's our last, as our P over Q. So P would be plus or minus. What are factors of 12?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
So we just eliminated some of our choices, our options. Yes.
So question, you're supposed to. You still get 24.
It doesn't matter the order, because like your zeros at the end will still be your zeros at the end. So negative 1. So drop down, we get negative 1, 1. This would be negative 12 and positive 12 and 0. Yay, so it works. So negative 1 is also one of our answers. And then from here, this is x squared minus x minus 12. And I can factor this. So what are two factors of negative 12 that add to negative 1? Negative 4 and 3. So this would be x minus 4, x plus 3. I need to set each one equal to 0. So x minus 4 equals 0. X plus 3 equals 0. X is equal to 4. X is equal to negative 3. So adding to my list here, I have 4 and negative 3. So these are all of my zeros. Don't forget that what you divided here is a 0 and this is a 0. So don't just skip over those. People did that on the quiz. That like what you picked here, if it works, it's a 0. So don't forget to list those in your answer. Yes? So let's look at 9. So here, we have to do P over Q. So our factors of 60 are going to be
1, 2,
And then our factors of 1 and just 1. Alright, what do you want to try first? Hopefully you guys tried something that works, so why don't you pick that? Logan.
Yeah,
3. So then 1, 6, -3, -52, and -60 goes in the box. Drop down the 1, multiply, we get 3. Add 9, multiply 18. We get 15, multiply. Yep, you are right. 27. And then this would be 24. Multiply, we get 72. Add 20. Multiply 60, add 0. Awesome. So 3 works. So one of our answers is x is equal to 3. Now we do it again. Here, we can use 20 as our last term, so we could just list our factors of 20. That'll eliminate some of our options from up top. So factors of 20 would be 1, 2, 4, 5, 10, 20. Factors of 1 are just 1. So in our box would go 1, 9, 24, and 20. What do you want to try now? Negative what? We can try -2. Drop down the 1. This would be -2. 7, -14, 10, -20, 0. Alright, so -2 also works, so add that to the list. Now, we can just factor what we got here. So this would be x squared plus 7x plus 10. Do I have 2 factors of 10 that add to 7? 5 and 2. So this would be x minus 5, x plus 5, and x plus 2. Set both parts equal to 0. So x is equal to what? -5 and -2. So add those to our list also. We have -5 and another -2. So let's look at 14. So am I missing any zeros here?
Yep.
What is it?
5 plus 2.
5 plus 2i. So now I need to put all of these in factored form. So I have x plus 4, x minus 1, x minus 5, minus 2i, and x minus 5 plus 2i. So I want to start by multiplying the imaginary parts first, these complex numbers. So this is x minus 5 plus 2i, and x minus 5 minus 2i. So I just distributed that negative to the parentheses. So my first term is x minus 5. My second term is 2i. So multiplying the first together, I get x minus 5 squared minus 4i squared. So I have to FOIL x minus 5 squared. So that would be x minus 10, x squared minus 10x plus 25. What does the I squared turn into? A plus 4. So this would be x squared minus 10x plus 29. Alright, next I'm going to multiply these two together. So I'm just going to FOIL here. So I have x squared minus x plus 4x minus 4. So this would be x squared plus 3x minus 4. So I'm just going to rewrite that down here next to this one, because then I have to FOIL these two together. So since we have a trinomial being multiplied to a trinomial, it's a little bit more than FOILing, but just make sure every term in the first one gets multiplied to every term in the second. So I'm going to start with x cubed. X squared. I'm going to start with the first one, x squared. So x squared times x squared would be x to the fourth power. X squared times negative 10x would be negative 10x cubed. And then x squared times 29 would be plus 29x squared. And I'm going to go to the next one. So 3x. So that would be plus 3x cubed. Then minus 30x squared. And then what's 29 times 3? 87. So plus 87x. Then I'm going to move on to the last one. So I have minus 4. That would be minus 4x squared. Then plus 40x. And 4 times 29? Negative 116. And then from here, I combine my like terms. So I only have one x to the fourth power. Then I have x cubed. So negative 10x cubed plus 3x cubed would be negative 7x cubed. Then x squared. So 29 minus 30 would be negative 1. And then minus 4x squared would be negative 5x squared. Then 87 plus 40 would be 127x. And then minus 116. Can I combine, let's say if I had 4i radical 3 minus 2 radical 3. Can I combine these? No. What if I had minus 5? Can I combine this? No. Can't combine a whole number, real number, with a radical. And you can't combine an imaginary number, so if it has an I, with anything that's not imaginary also. So just make sure it's like terms when you're combining things like this.
Most of the time we cancel out though. So might as well get that.
So what are my factors of 64? 8, 16, 4, 32. We can start there for now. I think that's it though. So what do you want to try first? Let's try 1. 1, negative 12, 48, and negative 64 are going to go in my box. So drop the 1 down, add, I get 1. Then this should be 1. Negative 11. Multiply, negative 11, add. It's not going to work. Thank you. Let's try 4. So drop down the 1, multiply, add, negative 8, multiply, negative 32, add, we get 16, multiply, 64, add, 0. So 4 works. So one of my answers is 4. 4. So now I have x squared minus 8x plus 16, and I can factor this. So what are two factors of 16 that add to negative 8? Negative 4, negative 4. So that's going to be x minus 4 times x minus 4 equals 0. So if I set each of these equal to 0, I'm going to get x is equal to 4 and x is equal to 4. So two other answers are 4 and 4. Those are my 3 answers. Looking at our polynomial that we started with, x cubed, we're only going to have 3 answers. Only 3 answers are actually going to work, but these are all of our possible answers. So we have to try these. Your answer is going to come from this list, but it could only be 3 of them.
Would there ever be a case where like 1, 2, 4, 64, and 8 equals 0?
Only 3 of them you're only going to have 3 solutions. All right, let's take a look at number 12. What am I missing? Negative square root 5. So I have x plus 1, x minus 2, x minus square root 5, x plus square root 5. I always like to start with my complex conjugates first. So this will be x squared minus, what's square root 5 times square root 5? What's the square root of 25? Just 5. Alright, so that's multiplying that part. And then I'm going to FOIL these two out together now. So x squared minus 2x plus x minus 2. So this is x squared minus x minus 2. And then I'm just going to multiply this times x squared minus 5. So just make sure everything in the first parentheses gets multiplied to everything in the second. So x squared times x squared, x to the fourth, x squared times negative 5. And then move on to negative x. Negative x cubed, negative plus 5x, because it's negative times a negative, plus 10. X to the fourth, minus x cubed, minus 7x squared, plus 5x plus 10. Awesome.